Have you ever had a teacher who made a huge difference in you as a student and as a person? I'm sure I'm not the only one who has. In many years as a student, I have come to know many teachers. They come and go, but this amazing teacher definitely stands out. We all have had teachers who reach out and influence us in many ways. Today, I would like to thank Mr. Bill Wallace, my 6th grade math teacher. Mr. Bill Wallace was the center of jokes, help with math, and kindness. I am sure that Mr. Wallace was the same person, even out of school. Mr. Wallace taught his students with jokes that helped them with math. Mr. Wallace would always make a joke about what we were learning. Once he made a scenario where I was arguing with my sister and won the argument with math. It brought the mood of the class up and everyone was feeling better than before. Mr. Wallace's jokes would keep the class focused even when everybody felt like being tired. Once on a Monday morning, everyone was tired and falling asleep, but Mr. Wallace made a funny but not offensive joke about another teacher, and nobody felt tired anymore. Another joke Mr. Wallace made was when we were learning algebra and how things on the opposite end of the equal sign were opposite. So the students stand on one end of the equal sign that he drew, and he told the class the opposite of that person's personality. Then everyone understood the concept and laughed too. Mr. Wallace could not only make you laugh, but when you're having a bad day, he could make you smile with kindness. If you came to class having did your homework, but you didn't understand the question, Mr. Wallace would not just mark it wrong or give you a 0. He would be fine with it as long as you figured out the problem. Some teachers would just give you a 0, but not Mr. Wallace. He did that once, and I thought I would get a 0, but all I had to do was ask a question and figure it out in class. Being the laughing, joking person that he is, Mr. Wallace would taunt and tease you, but he would never go too far. He knew when to stop teasing you and not to make the person feel bad. A student once came to school sad and worried, but Mr. Wallace made a small joke and cheered him up at once. Mr. Wallace didn't keep going to make the person feel worse, though. Mr. Wallace was so careful in that way. Mr. Wallace would give extra credit on a ton of tests and quizzes, too. Sometimes you could get 10 extra points. Once my class took a test, and most people didn't do so well, so Mr. Wallace gave us a sheet for extra credit. Mr. Wallace would also let you talk in class, too. Mr. Wallace is a fantastic teacher and is always looking to help students succeed. If you didn't understand something in class, Mr. Wallace would talk to you individually and use examples that are common in real life or draw some sort of picture to help you with the topic. Some students in the class didn't understand what we were learning, and Mr. Wallace spent 10 minutes individually with them until they understood. If you didn't understand something by the end of the class, you could come back at extensions, and he would explain the topic in a different way. Before a test, I came for help at extensions, and I finally understood the material and got a good grade on the test. Even when I was in 7th grade and Mr. Wallace wasn't teaching me anymore, if I didn't get the math I was learning and the teacher wasn't available after school, I could come see him for extra help. I did that all through 7th grade, and it was a huge help. I know I'm not the only student who had a teacher make a huge difference in you. These are just a few examples of Mr. Wallace's jokes, kindness, and helping others with math. I know that everyone who had Mr. Wallace was impacted the way I was because I don't know anybody who didn't like him. Also, when people see him in the halls, I always say hi. I know that you can't be taught by the same teacher every year, but I was very disappointed he couldn't teach me just one more year. I will always remember my 6th grade math teacher, Mr. Bill Wallace.